The desire to heal another person often appears noble, selfless, and full of devotion. Yet beneath this longing, there is usually a deeper psychological movement. When someone feels drawn to take away another's pain, it is rarely accidental. The human psyche recognizes familiar wounds in others. We are stirred most strongly by suffering that resembles our own hidden struggles. A person who wishes to marry in order to rescue may believe they are simply offering love, but unconsciously they may be seeking resolution for an old ache within themselves. Perhaps they once felt powerless in the face of someone else's sorrow. Perhaps they promised themselves that one day they would become strong enough to prevent such pain from existing again. In this way, the beloved becomes both partner and symbol. The relationship begins to carry a weight that belongs not only to the present moment, but to the past. This is not manipulation. It is the mysterious way the unconscious seeks completion. However, if this dynamic remains unseen, love can become entangled with expectation. The healer expects gratitude or transformation. The wounded expects relief. Both may feel disappointed when pain persists. True maturity begins when one recognizes that the impulse to heal another is also an invitation to examine one's own unhealed places. Instead of trying to remove another's suffering, one can ask, what within me responds so urgently to this pain? What memory, what fear, what longing is awakened? When such questions are faced honestly, the relationship shifts. It becomes less about rescue and more about shared awareness. The desire to heal does not disappear, but it becomes grounded. One no longer seeks to erase suffering as proof of love. Instead, love becomes the steady presence that supports growth. In this awareness, two people can meet not as savior and victim, but as fellow travelers who recognize that each carries wounds and each carries the capacity for healing within themselves. There are times when we meet someone and feel an almost immediate certainty that they are meant to protect us from further hurt. They appear steady where we are fragile, confident where we are uncertain, calm where we are troubled. In their presence, our anxiety softens, and we begin to imagine a future in which our burdens are lighter simply because they stand beside us. This experience feels profound, almost destined. Yet psychologically, such attraction often arises from projection. We unconsciously assign to the other person qualities we long to develop within ourselves. The one who seems like a rescuer may represent our own hidden strength, our own unrealized courage. Instead of recognizing these potentials as part of us, we see them embodied in another and feel drawn toward them. Marriage, in this context, becomes the hope of securing those qualities permanently, as though by uniting with the person we can finally claim the peace or protection we lack. This dynamic is powerful because it touches deep emotional needs. However, if left unexamined, it can create imbalance. The so-called rescuer may feel pressured to remain strong at all times, while the one being rescued may hesitate to discover their own resilience. Over time, this arrangement can lead to silent frustration. The protector may grow weary of carrying expectations, and the protected may feel diminished by dependence. The truth is that no partner can permanently shield us from our inner conflicts. The qualities we admire in them are often reflections of capacities waiting to be awakened within us. When we understand this, attraction does not lose its magic, but it gains depth. We can still cherish the stability, compassion, or strength of the person we love, yet we no longer demand that they live our psychological life for us. Instead, we allow the relationship to inspire growth. The partner who once seemed like a rescuer becomes a mirror, revealing what we are capable of becoming. In this shift, marriage transforms from a search for safety into a shared path of development, where both individuals gradually integrate the qualities they once believed belonged only to the other. Love often carries a quiet fantasy that in the presence of the right person, our suffering will finally dissolve. When someone promises, directly or indirectly, to take away our pain, the heart responds with relief. We want to believe that affection is strong enough to silence anxiety, to soften old memories, to erase loneliness. Yet this belief, though tender, contains an illusion. No human being possesses the power to remove another's inner conflicts entirely. Pain is not an object that can be transferred from one soul to another. It is an experience shaped by memory, perception, and personal history. When we expect love to function as a cure, we place upon the relationship a burden it cannot sustain. At first, both partners may feel uplifted by the intensity of devotion. The one who seeks to rescue feels purposeful, even heroic. The one who longs for relief feels chosen and protected. But as time unfolds, reality emerges. Old fears resurface. Insecurities return. The wounds that seemed quiet begin to speak again. In that moment, disappointment can appear. One may think, if you truly loved me, this would no longer hurt. The other may think, why can I not fix what troubles you? This is the silent danger of believing that love alone can erase suffering. Genuine intimacy does not deny pain, it makes space for it. Instead of promising removal, mature love offers understanding. It says, your sorrow does not frighten me. I will not abandon you because of it. Such acceptance is more powerful than rescue. It allows each person to take responsibility for their own growth while feeling supported. The illusion fades, but something stronger takes its place. Love becomes not a shield against life, but a steady presence within it. In this presence, pain does not vanish, yet it loses its isolation. It becomes a shared human experience rather than a private prison. When two individuals recognize that suffering is part of their journey, they stop demanding miracles from each other. They begin to cultivate resilience together. In this way, the relationship deepens. It is no longer sustained by fantasy, but by truth. And truth, though less dramatic than illusion, provides a far more stable foundation for union. Within every human being there exists a hidden region of the personality, a place where rejected feelings, denied impulses, and unacknowledged fears quietly reside. This inner territory does not disappear simply because we enter a loving relationship. On the contrary, intimacy has a way of awakening what has long been concealed. When someone hopes to marry you in order to take your pain away, both individuals may initially focus only on tenderness and devotion. Yet, as closeness deepens, the shadow begins to move. The rescuer may discover irritation when their efforts do not produce immediate healing. They may feel unappreciated or quietly resentful, emotions that conflict with their self-image as the strong and giving partner. At the same time, the one who receives help may feel suffocated or diminished, even while being grateful. These reactions can be confusing and even frightening because they contradict the idealized picture of the relationship. However, they are not signs that love has failed. They are signs that unconscious material is surfacing. The shadow demands recognition, especially where two lives intertwine. If ignored, it may express itself through blame, withdrawal, or subtle emotional distance. But if acknowledged, it becomes a powerful source of growth. Each partner must learn to say, with honesty, there is more within me than kindness and patience. There is also fear, anger, and vulnerability. Such admission does not weaken the bond, it strengthens it. When both individuals accept their own complexity, they stop expecting perfection from themselves and from each other. The desire to rescue transforms into a more balanced understanding. One realizes that healing is not achieved by suppressing darker feelings, but by integrating them. Marriage then becomes a space where light and shadow coexist, where both partners feel permitted to reveal their full humanity. In this atmosphere, compassion deepens because it is no longer based on illusion. It is grounded in the recognition that every soul carries contradictions. By facing these inner tensions together rather than denying them, the couple moves beyond the fantasy of flawless devotion. They begin to build a relationship rooted in authenticity, where love is not the absence of shadow, but the courage to confront it side by side. There is within the human heart a persistent longing to become whole. We sense, often without being able to explain it, that something in us remains incomplete. This feeling does not necessarily mean we are broken. Rather, it reflects the natural tension between who we are and who we might become. When we meet someone who seems capable of taking our pain away, that longing for wholeness becomes attached to them. We imagine that union will restore balance, that marriage will gather the scattered pieces of our inner life and arrange them into harmony. The beloved appears as the missing element, the answer to an unspoken question. This experience can feel profound and even sacred because it touches the deepest layer of the psyche. Yet it is important to understand what is truly happening beneath the surface. The desire for union often symbolizes an inner process seeking completion. The qualities we admire in another person frequently represent traits that lie dormant within ourselves. Their strength may mirror our unrealized courage. Their calmness may reflect a peace we have not yet cultivated. In hoping they will remove our suffering, we are also hoping they will guide us toward integration. Marriage, in this sense, becomes more than companionship. It becomes a psychological journey. However, if we believe the other person alone will provide wholeness, we risk surrendering our own responsibility for growth. No partner can permanently supply what we refuse to develop within ourselves. True completeness cannot be imported from outside. When two individuals approach marriage with awareness of this dynamic, the relationship takes on a different quality. Instead of seeking to complete each other, they recognize that each already carries the potential for fullness. Their union then becomes a partnership in unfolding rather than a desperate attempt to fill emptiness. They inspire each other to cultivate hidden strengths and to confront unresolved pain. In this shared effort, something remarkable happens. The longing for wholeness does not disappear, but it shifts direction. It no longer clings to the other person as a solution. Instead, it becomes a mutual commitment to inner growth. Love deepens because it is no longer burdened with the impossible task of curing incompleteness. It becomes a conscious choice to walk together toward greater self-understanding, where both partners gradually realize that wholeness was never absent, only waiting to be discovered within. There is a subtle but profound difference between rescuing someone and truly loving them. Rescue is often urgent. It feels immediate, driven by a powerful need to act, to protect, to solve. When a person believes they must take away your pain in order to prove their devotion, their affection becomes intertwined with responsibility. They measure their worth by how much they can fix, how quickly they can restore your peace. At first, this intensity can feel comforting. You may experience their attention as evidence of deep care. Yet rescue carries an unspoken message that you are fragile, that you cannot endure your own struggle without intervention. Though rarely intended, this implication can quietly undermine your sense of strength. The rescuer may also bind their identity to your suffering. If your pain lessens, they feel successful. If it persists, they may feel inadequate. In this dynamic, love becomes conditional upon outcomes rather than rooted in presence. True love operates differently. It does not rush to erase discomfort, nor does it depend on visible improvement to justify itself. Instead, it respects the inner process of the other person. To love is to believe in another's capacity to confront their own darkness. It is to stand beside them without attempting to dominate their journey. This form of devotion requires patience and humility. It acknowledges that growth cannot be forced and that pain, though difficult, often carries meaning. When someone loves in this mature way, they offer support without control. They listen without assuming superiority. They encourage without imposing solutions. In such an atmosphere, the wounded individual does not feel diminished. They feel accompanied. Over time, the distinction between rescue and love determines the health of a marriage. A relationship built on rescue may begin with intensity, but gradually exhaust itself. One partner grows weary of carrying the emotional weight, while the other may feel trapped in the role of the one who needs saving. In contrast, a relationship grounded in genuine love evolves steadily. Both individuals remain responsible for their own healing while benefiting from shared strength. They do not compete over who suffers more or who sacrifices more. Instead, they cultivate mutual respect. Love in its mature form does not seek to replace another's inner work. It seeks to create a safe space in which that work can unfold. In this balance, devotion becomes sustainable, and both partners retain their dignity and autonomy. Marriage has a mysterious quality. It reflects back to us aspects of ourselves we might never have seen alone. When two individuals choose to unite their lives, they do more than share space and time. They create a psychological mirror. In the beginning, this mirror often shows flattering images. We see ourselves as loving, generous, patient. We feel expanded by the admiration of the other. Yet as daily life unfolds, the reflection becomes more complete. Impatience, insecurity, pride, and fear gradually appear. When someone enters marriage hoping to take away your pain, they may initially view themselves as the strong one, the protector. You may see yourself as the one in need of comfort. But over time, the mirror shifts. The rescuer discovers their own vulnerabilities. The one seeking relief discovers unexpected strength. Through conflict and reconciliation, disappointment and understanding, both partners encounter parts of themselves that were previously hidden. This mirroring process can feel unsettling. It challenges the roles each person unconsciously adopted at the beginning. The partner who wished to heal may feel exposed when their limitations become visible. The partner who longed for safety may feel uncomfortable recognizing their own capacity to stand alone. Yet this discomfort is not a sign of failure. It is evidence that the relationship is functioning as a mirror rather than a stage for illusion. Marriage reveals not only what we cherish about ourselves, but also what we avoid. It brings unconscious patterns into conscious awareness. Repeated arguments may highlight unresolved fears. Emotional reactions may uncover childhood experiences that still influence behavior. The partner becomes both companion and teacher, not through deliberate instruction, but through simple presence. When approached with awareness, this mirroring transforms marriage into a path of self-knowledge. Instead of blaming the other for uncomfortable feelings, each person begins to ask what the reflection is showing. Why does this situation provoke such intensity? What belief or memory is being touched? In this inquiry, the desire to remove each other's pain evolves into something deeper. Both individuals recognize that suffering cannot be erased by substitution, but it can be understood through reflection. The marriage becomes a shared space where growth is possible because truth is revealed. In learning to accept the mirror, partners gradually integrate the qualities they once denied. Through this process, love matures. It is no longer sustained by fantasy, but strengthened by self-awareness and mutual courage. A relationship that begins with the hope of removing another's pain must eventually confront a deeper truth. Growth cannot occur through dependency alone. If one partner constantly carries the emotional weight while the other leans entirely upon that strength, both remain confined within narrow roles. The rescuer becomes overburdened, and the one being rescued may unconsciously avoid developing resilience. At first, this arrangement feels stable, even comforting, because each person knows their position. Yet over time, stagnation replaces vitality. Shared growth requires something more demanding than protection. It calls for mutual participation in the work of self-understanding. Each partner must be willing to examine their fears, their expectations, and their patterns of reaction. When this willingness is present, the relationship shifts from imbalance to collaboration. The question changes from, "How can I save you?" to, "How can we both become stronger through this experience?" This subtle change transforms the foundation of the bond. In a partnership rooted in shared growth, pain is not assigned to one individual while the other remains untouched. Instead, difficulties are viewed as common challenges that reveal areas for development in both lives. If one struggles with insecurity, the other may learn patience and clearer communication. If one carries past disappointment, the other may learn steadiness and empathy. Growth becomes reciprocal. Neither person is reduced to a fixed identity. Both evolve. This process demands honesty and courage because it removes the illusion of superiority. The one who once felt like the protector must admit their own need for support. The one who once felt fragile must accept their own capacity for strength. In this exchange, equality gradually emerges. Such a relationship does not eliminate suffering, but it changes its meaning. Pain becomes a signal inviting reflection rather than a burden to be secretly transferred. When conflicts arise, they are approached not as proof of incompatibility, but as opportunities to understand deeper layers of the self. Each partner retains responsibility for their inner life while benefiting from the encouragement of the other. Over time, this balanced effort creates resilience within the marriage. Love matures into a conscious alliance, sustained not by fantasy, but by shared intention. In choosing growth together, two individuals move beyond dependency and discover a companionship grounded in respect, accountability, and enduring strength.